I picked up a whopping 17 books in December, but some of them were complete flops and the others made it to my all-time favourite list. So stick around and see which ones I loved and which ones I loathed. Hello fellow book lovers, I hope you had a really great festive season. I was gonna say festive seasoning. And like me, you are feeling fresh and ready to dive into a new year of reading. I will link my January TBR above so you can go and see the 10 books that I am aiming to read this month. But let's go back in time a little and see what books I read in December. Although I picked up a lot of books in December, I also put a lot of them down because they didn't live up to my expectations or I found that they just weren't for me. I am not afraid to DNF a book, but it seems like I may have been warming up for the DNF Olympics in December because there were more DNFs than there were completed books. Some of these DNFs will appear in my DNF diaries, which is a new series I have decided to make where I put all of the vlog clips of me DNFing books into one big concoction of rant. But that video hasn't gone up yet, so subscribe and hit the little bell thingy so you can get a notification when that video finally goes up. Right, let's just get into the 17 books because there are 17. This is gonna take forever. The first book I DNF'd in January was Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, and I DNF'd this at 5%. Alex E. Harrow is becoming a bit of a hit or miss author for me because 2 of her releases have been some of my all-time favourite books. I really enjoyed The Once and Future Witches. I think I gave that like 4.5 or maybe even 5 stars. And I also really loved A Spindle Splintered, that little mini duology that she released. I really loved those. But this book and 10,000 Doors of January have ended up on my DNF lists. So it seems that although some of her releases I absolutely love, others just aren't for me. I still think I'm going to keep on giving this author a try because she has written some of my all-time favourites. So surely there will be another release that I love. But this book, what is it even about? This book is about a house called Starling House that is crumbling and dark and mysterious, and it's perched on the very edge of a town and no one goes near it, no one goes in, no one comes out, and our main character goes to work there. I didn't even get to the point where she went to work there. I DNF'd at 5%. I don't know why. I cannot give you a definitive answer as to why I DNF'd this book. It's the same as 10,000 Doors of January. There was just something was missing for me, even though the plot sounds like the exact type of thing that I would love. I love gothic books, I love YA, I love dark, mysterious, crumbling houses. I really enjoyed Gallant, for example, which is a similar vibe about a creepy house. I should have liked this, but something was missing. The next book I picked up was Mina and the Undead by Amy McCall, and again, I DNF'd this. And this was one of my most highly anticipated releases ever. I love vampire books. Again, it's YA, so it's quite easy going. I love vampires. I love 80s vibes. And this author has a YouTube channel and I really like her as a person, and we have very similar tastes. She likes Buffy, she likes Lost Boys, she likes vampires. So I really thought that I was going to enjoy this book, but again, something just didn't connect with me. And if I don't connect with a book, I just can't dedicate my time to it. I can't put the energy needed to complete a book when something's just not hitting. So I can't even say like, oh, this was a bad book, it was really badly written, it was grossly offensive. There was nothing wrong with it. It just didn't have that something that needed to hook me to keep going. So I DNF'd this one at 8%. Then I picked up Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison, and this one I thought was going to be a DNF because I have DNF'd a book by Rachel Harrison before. I picked up Cackle maybe 2022. When did I read Cackle? Was it this year or was it 2023? What year is it? I can't remember if I read this book in 2024 or 2023, but I picked up Cackle and I thought I was going to really enjoy it because I've heard a lot of praise about Rachel Harrison. A lot of people say her genre is cozy horror, so horror vibes, but they don't scare you to the bone and they're just dark and creepy. And Cackle follows witches, so I thought I was going to love that book. I got quite far through that book. I think I got at least 50%, and then I was just a bit bored. So I didn't have high hopes for Black Sheep. I thought I was going to get a very similar feeling where I was interested in the blurb but something just didn't click, but I wanted to give it a go. And I am so glad that I did, because Black Sheep was wonderful. I absolutely loved this book. I ate it up within like 24 hours and I gave it 4 stars. So the synopsis for this book is intentionally vague, so I don't want to give you too much information, but we follow a character who is estranged from her family. She is completely disconnected. She has moved away and started her own life, and then she receives a letter inviting her to a family wedding, and she accepts. That is literally all I am going to give you, because the twists and the reveals were so thrilling and shocking and interesting. I absolutely loved this book. Going into it, because the synopsis was so vague, I wasn't sure what genre this was. Is it horror? Is it a thriller? Is it a mystery? Is it like a domestic family thriller, or is this creepy and dark? And a lot of people were saying creepy and dark. I wasn't getting that vibe from the blurb, but it is. It's creepy, it's dark, it's eerie, it's twisty, it's absolutely wonderful. Pick up Black Sheep. Then I picked up The Scapegraces, which is a book I have been umming and ahhing about for a very long time. I wasn't sure if this book was going to be for me because the blurb just didn't scream to me. But on Amazon, it was described as the craft for Gen Z, and I love The Craft. I absolutely adore The Craft. And I knew this had a gay main character, which is something I really enjoy reading. So I gave it a go, and unfortunately, it wasn't for me. So this follows main character Sideways, who is very outcasted at her school. She doesn't have friends and she practices magic in secret. But then one day, these 4 popular girls find out she can practice magic and sort of take her under their wing, and they practice magic together. It just sounds like I'm describing The Craft. And then maybe things go wrong, or I don't really know. I can't tell you, but I DNF'd this at 12%. I really wanted to give it a go, but the writing style wasn't for me. I couldn't connect with the characters. I really, really did not like the writing style. I can't pretend that there was anything about the writing style that I enjoyed, because there wasn't. But again, that's my opinion. We all have different preferences and we all like different things, and I just didn't like this one. Then I picked up Nightmare Before Christmas. Nope, I didn't. Then I picked up Nightmare Before Christmas. I DNF'd this at 1%. I DNF'd this on the 2nd page. But now, let's be real. I did not DNF this because it was a bad book. I don't think you can tell if a book is good or bad by the 2nd page. I just very quickly realised that the vibe was not for me, and I knew that going into it. So I need to be fair to the author here and the publishers and say that this book was never going to be a book that I loved. I don't like romance. The romance genre as a whole isn't really for me. I have enjoyed romance books and I am going to give more romance books a try, but it's not something I gravitate towards, and for the most part I don't enjoy it. So this is a romance book. This is a cozy, funny, rom-com, Christmassy Halloween book. The Halloween aspect is what enticed me. I thought I will give it a go because I have liked romances before. I very quickly realised, no, I'm not going to bother, and I don't want to end up giving it a bad review because I don't like romance. It didn't seem fair. But immediately it gave me Red, White and Royal Blue vibes. The writing style seemed very similar, and I DNF'd that book very quickly. It was before I realised I hated romance with a passion. I did intend to give this book a go and go into it open-minded, but as soon as I realised it was very similar to Red, White and Royal Blue, I decided just not to waste my time. And that's fair. We all have different preferences. We all like different things. And actually, after I DNF'd it, I did see that on Amazon it said for fans of Red, White and Royal Blue, so that should have been my first sign that it wasn't for me. So no shade on this book, nothing to criticise, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Then the next book I picked up, I also DNF'd at 1%, and that was Sorcery and Small Magic. But yet again, you're not going to get a ravey, ranty criticism of this. Again, I very quickly realised in the first couple of pages that the writing style and the theme wasn't. I do tend to stick more to YA fantasy, and this is adult fantasy. I thought maybe the gay romance would appeal to me, but the writing style, I could tell within the first few pages, was something I wasn't going to enjoy. I clearly do enjoy books aimed for adults because Black Sheep I enjoyed, but it's very particular writing styles, and I just knew that if I gave this book a go, I wouldn't enjoy it. It wouldn't be fair on the author to give a negative review because there probably wasn't anything wrong with this book. It just didn't suit my tastes. And that's okay. It is okay to not like books that are good. A lot of people will say this is the best book in the world, this is the best written book, there is no book better than this, and it's okay if you don't enjoy that. That is not a reflection on you. We just all like different things. That's what makes us so cool. Next, I picked up Winterwood by Shane Earnshaw, and again, I wasn't sure if this one was going to be for me. I'm not sure why, because the blurb is everything that I look for in a YA fantasy. It was about forests and witches, and I love witchy forest books. I eat them up I adore them. And I've read The Wicked Deep by Cheyenne Shaw, and I really enjoyed that. That was another witchy YA, and I really liked it. So I'm not sure why I was hesitant going into this. I think it may be because there are a couple of books by Cheyenne Shaw that have since been released after this one, and I saw some negative reviews, and I think I might have mixed them up. But regardless, I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought it would. This follows Nora, who lives in the woods. She is a witch. She lives with her mum, but her mum goes away a lot, so she's alone. And the woods that surround her house are dark and not nice. They are not nice woods to be in. And one day when she's exploring the woods, she comes across the body of a boy who she believes is dead, but then she realises he isn't dead, and he has been in this forest in the snow for 2 weeks. He should be dead. He is not. The pair work together to figure out what on earth is going on, how he's alive, why the woods didn't destroy him or torment him as they do other people who go through the woods, and they end up forming a connection. I have said before, I've said it in this video, I've said it in other videos, I don't like romance, but usually that's when the book is a romance. I don't mind romance subplots in books, but I tend not to enjoy them. This one I actually enjoyed. I found myself getting a little bit emotional at the end with the whole romance plot and wanting a happy ending for this pair. So that's always a pleasant surprise. If a book makes me like the romance element, then you know it's a good one. I really enjoyed the writing. It was beautiful. I loved the atmosphere. This was great. I gave it 4.5 stars maybe. Next, I picked up The Very Secret Society of Witches. I wasn't sure if this book was going to be for me because it's a cozy fantasy with a romantic comedy element. Romantic comedy, not something that ticks my boxes, but I enjoyed TJ Klune's books and they are cozy mysteries. So, and they also have a romantic plot. So I don't want to just blanket say no to genres. So I decided to give this one a go, especially as it's about witches and I love my witches. So I gave this one a go. I'm really glad I did because I loved it. I wasn't rooting for the romance element. I wasn't obsessed with it. I didn't love it, but the comedy and the characters and the connections and the plot, I really enjoyed with this book. This was such a fun read and I'm so glad I gave it a go. I am going to have to try some more cozy fantasies in 2025. I gave this book 4 stars again. Then I picked up You Will Never Leave Me. This one I wasn't 100% sure going into because it's a contemporary supernatural, which isn't really my jam. Contemporary elements scare me. Supernatural I'm a hit or miss with because this was sort of like ghosty apparition type supernatural rather than like witches and vampires, which is what I gravitate towards. And unfortunately, this was a DNF, but this was a DNF at 20%, so I really did give it a go. I just couldn't connect with the characters. I didn't care enough about the characters or where the plot was going. I realised that no matter what the outcome was, I wasn't gonna care. So I did decide to DNF this one. Again, not a criticism of the book, just my personal reading tastes. If you're expecting like a really ranty video about how awful these books were and you're not going to get it because a lot of it is just exploring what is for me and what isn't and trying new genres. This book will definitely have its audience and I think that will be the people who like contemporary supernatural. Maybe you like horror but you like it more gentle and you like creepy spooky but you don't want to be like scared out of your wits. This might be something you should pick up. This is about a young girl who is in an abusive relationship and she gets the courage to end that relationship. But she knows leaving a toxic partner is not always as easy as it seems and her partner will end up haunting her, but she didn't realise that that meant literally. Next is a non-fiction, so I will touch on it incredibly briefly and it probably isn't relevant to the majority of viewers, but that is Managing Childhood Grief. I picked this up because my son has lost his dad in the past couple of years and that is an incredibly difficult thing to navigate as a parent and as his family. It is a struggle. So when I saw this one go on sale on Kindle, I thought, great, this is going to be right up my street. This is going to be really helpful. But unfortunately, this book is aimed at older children. It was sort of 5 to 8 and then 8 to 11. My son is 4, so a lot of the things in this book were just not applicable to him. There weren't things that would be age appropriate. They wouldn't really make sense to him, so that was a shame. So I DNF'd it, but again, not criticism on the book, just wasn't applicable to us. So let's move on from that book because I don't want to get miserable in this video. The next book was The Water Witch. This was a book I was actually looking forward to and again, DNF'd. This time I DNF'd at 30%. So as you can see, I am trying to give these books more of a go as we go through the month. I am trying. So this is a historical fantasy, but it's set in present day, but it's about historical and mythological events. So we follow a main character whose husband was researching the lost city of Ys, and legend has it that this city once stood in France and it was drowned a long time ago by a sea god, and a water witch perished in the flood, and she is now getting her revenge by luring men into the sea to their deaths. The main character wants nothing to do with the lost city of Ys, but her brother is actually researching it, and I think they're both archaeologists or something, and he wants her help. Also tangled up in this storyline is Raphael, who comes from a long line of men who were lost to the sea. He says it's because of the water witch. Our main character says nonsense, no such thing. And this book explores learning to love after loss. And yeah, it wasn't for me. I don't think these types of books are for me, but you have to give them a try to know that. And that's exactly what I did. I gave it a go. So the next couple of books I'm not going to go too much in depth of because there is a reading vlog discussing these books. I was going to say videos. I'm talking too fast. So in 2025, I'm making it my personal mission to pick up some Goodreads Choice Awards winners, specifically 2024, but also some further back ones. I'm not vlogging those though. I'm only vlogging the 2024 ones. So my first vlog for that has gone up, and that's what these books feature in. So I'm not going to go too in depth because I don't want to repeat myself, but go and check out that video if you would like to see my thoughts on these books, and we can really get into them a bit more. Here it's just brief though. So there were 3 books that I read for that video, and the first was Dragonfruit. This one I gave 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is a fantasy based on Pacific mythology where we follow a girl who is exiled from her kingdom because her father stole dragon fruit, which is a dragon's egg that has the ability to grant you your deepest desire. Alongside her story, we also follow Sam, who is the prince of this kingdom, and his mother has fallen ill and he wants a dragon fruit to save her. This was really lovely. I really enjoyed it. It was very adventurous, very fun. The romance element was minimal, which I enjoyed. Yeah, it was a really good time. I can't remember if I've already said, but I gave it 4 stars. Then I picked up The Poisons We Drink, which is another YA fantasy, but this has contemporary political elements in it. And unfortunately, I DNF'd this one too. I DNF'd this one at 23%. We follow a girl who lives in contemporary America, but in this world we have witches who can practice magic, but it is illegal to practice certain types of magic. It is very frowned upon. They are very discriminated against. And when her mother is killed, she is recruited by the head of the coven to brew illegal potions to try and take down the corrupt politicians in America. This one I wasn't sure whether I was going to love going into it. I'm not keen on contemporary or political elements. I did think I was going to enjoy it, but unfortunately the writing wasn't for me and the character development wasn't for me. There were lots of elements that weren't for me. I discussed them more in that vlog, so go and check that one out to hear my thoughts. Then I picked up Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. This was a 5-star read. I'm going to try really hard not to just talk about this book for hours and hours because I bloody loved it. I loved it so much. This is a dark, creepy YA horror fantasy that's set in a boarding school, and it features a forest and dark magic and fairy tales, and that is just everything to me. I love those sorts of books, and I absolutely loved this one. It's gay, it's creepy, it's eerie, it has forests, everything. So yeah, this one got 5 stars. I talk about this a lot more in my vlog, so yeah. So those were the books that I read for that vlog, and then I picked up Wicked, which was supposed to be a new vlog series reading all of the Wicked books by Gregory Maguire, but unfortunately I DNF'd this one at 6%. This book features in my DNF diaries, so again, I won't go too much into it here, but oh no, I don't want to talk about this book. I don't want to. So that takes us to the last 2 books of this video, which was The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and The Marvellous Land of Oz, which are the first 2 books in the Wizard of Oz series. These are children's books. They are very short. They are about 170 to 190 pages each. Very magical, very whimsical, really enjoyed them, gave them both 4 stars. My goal was to read the whole series and talk about it in a vlog with you, but I very quickly lost momentum. I finished the 2nd book and I just didn't want to pick up the 3rd book. I wanted to read other things. So I think I'm going to try and read a couple a month, just for my own enjoyment, not for a video, because I just found with it being so short, I was making so many notes to talk about in my video that it was taking me out of the book, because the chapters are like 2 or 3 pages each. So I'd finish a chapter, make a note, go back, make a note. Like every 5 minutes I was making notes, and it felt too much. So I decided to scrap that video idea and read for enjoyment, which, like I've said in my other videos, that's what reading is about. It's about enjoyment. It's not about content. I don't want this channel to become something that solely revolves around reading for content. I want it to be about me sharing thoughts on books that I have loved or maybe not enjoyed, and give you reviews and thoughts and recommendations. I don't want it to become a content driven thing. I want it to be authentic. I want it to be real. I want us to connect over books we love, and I don't think that can happen if I am forcing myself to read things purely for videos. So they were the 17 books that I picked up in January. So I only read, was it 5 or 6? Let me do the maths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. I didn't expect it to be 7. I'm not sure why. So I read 7 books in December, which is good. That is my best reading month of 2024. That's great. Hey, good for me. I've had a really slumpy reading year. I've spoken about it in other videos, so I won't go over it again. But I have been limiting what books I've been reading because I have solely stuck to this dark fairy tale, creepy, horror-y genre. And there aren't many books in that genre. I mean, there are thousands, but that I own or that are accessible to me or that are affordable. So I have just not been reading much. I've really slowed down on my reading because I've really been limiting myself, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to explore more, and that is what I have done. Yes, most of those books that I finished fit into my neat little category of dark YA fantasy, but not all of them, and that is progress. Right, well, my leg has gone numb because I've been sat on the floor for 37.5 minutes. Let me take a break and then I'll get back to you. So clearly my favourite book that I read in December was Don't Let the Forest In, but like I said, I've spoken about that in depth in a vlog, so I'm not going to go too much into it here. Then after that, I'd say my next favourite was Black Sheep. That one was such a great read, and I can't wait to pick up other books by this author. There are quite a few that are on my radar. I just need them to go on Kindle sale so I can pick them up. But even if they go down to just like £2.99 or something, I will pick them up. I am really excited to read more from her. Hopefully we get a Black Sheep experience and not a Cackle experience, but only time will tell. So that concludes this video. As you can see, it has been a very chaotic reading month, and hopefully January will go a lot smoother. Please comment down below what your favourite read of Please let me know down below what your favourite read of December 2024 was. I would absolutely love to know. I love knowing what other people have picked up or what other people have enjoyed, even if it doesn't align with my taste. It's just great to know what other people are loving. I am currently trying to upload twice a week, and so far that is going great. I have lots of videos scheduled, so please subscribe so you can see those, and then we can hang out again together and chat about books, which I love doing. As you can see, these videos like bring me so much joy. I'm always smiling while I'm making them because I just love to talk about books with people, and it's such a nice little space to just chat and have people in the comments telling me about their books, and we can just talk about books, which I love. So yeah, please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me, and it won't be long until my next upload, so stick around for that. And yeah, have a really, really great day, and yeah, I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.